Thanks for joining Have Tea with B. So, make sure you all follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that. Recording today out of 1212 Studios, so definitely check them out as well. And today I have a guest. This is someone I have known for some years now. Met back in college. Like, it's been a long time ago. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Marquita Johnson. Yes, it has been, I feel like it was like 2006 or 7 or something like that, like a long time ago.
It was like 2000, 2008, 2009, because I graduated high school in 2007. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you accepted to come on. So you can just give us just a little bit of background about yourself, tell us what you do and things like that.
Well, so I am by trade or by education, a teacher. So I've been in education now almost 18 years. It's a long time.
Yes.
Almost 18 years. I have transitioned out of the classroom and I've been in leadership now for almost 4 years. I recently moved back to the South Carolina area near my hometown of Myrtle Beach. But previously, of course, I lived in Atlanta a long, long time. Almost the same amount of time that I've been teaching. So I've got a little baby girl. She's 7. And so it's just me and her. And I think that's it. I do own my business.
Yes, I was about to say, make sure you say that.
Coco Rose & Co. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. My website is cocoroseandco.com. So follow me for all your wax melts and the candle needs. I make vegan products, so if you need any of those plant-based products, I got you.
So today we're going to kind of talk about having the sleeve surgery, which a lot of people have had it done, but they're not vocal about it, which, I mean, that's your personal choice of whether you want to talk about whether you had surgery or not. It's totally up to you. But I'm the type of person where I feel like transparency really helps others as well. Mm-hmm. Not only does it help others, it helps yourself. It helps you to be able to identify certain things within yourself that you may need to work on, or, just even things to be proud of as well for yourself. So just kind of a little background with me. I got the sleeve surgery back in 2020 during the height of COVID. I wish I would have waited, but I was just like, let me go ahead and do it. So I was like, my starting weight was a little bit over 420 pounds. And it was at the point where my bones were hurting, things like that. Like, I couldn't walk long distances. Definitely shortness of breath. I know I probably sound really nasal right now as well, but I promise that's just because I've been around smoke and smoke irritates me or whatever. But that was pretty much like my reasoning. I was like, okay, I can't live like this. Like, I was only, my math be a little messed up sometimes. I think I was like 31 because I'm 34 now. So yeah, that was 3 years ago. Yeah, I was 31. And I was just like, I can't be like this at 31. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, let me do my research. I knew a couple of people around me that had the sleeve surgery done. So I was like, let me check it out. Let me see, if it's something I want to do. So there were... I would say my sister Brianna, which I talk about her a lot, we're 2 years apart. She was my biggest support. She encouraged me the whole time. She did not have anything negative to say about, getting the surgery done or anything. My mom was totally against it. She was like, no, you don't need to have surgery. We can do this. We can do that. I'm like, okay, I've tried all these diets and stuff for a minute now and it ain't working. So I got to do an alternative. And that's why I chose to do it. So within like that first year, I got down to like 315 pounds. So I felt so much better. Even though I still got some weight to lose, I feel way better than I did back in 2020. So that's pretty much kind of why I got it or whatever. So what was your reasoning behind like why you got it done?
So so mine is just completely different. I'm actually a person that, so I moved to Atlanta when I was 20. And I graduated college a couple months earlier than I was supposed to. So I was 20 years old back in 2004. And I was a person that was actually really okay with being a big girl. Because when I moved to Atlanta, I joined this huge community of BBWs and BBW lovers, right? And it was like the men were just, it was like a fetish almost. And because I was a person that had really low self-esteem, it was like, oh my gosh, all these men, they love me. They love this way. So I actually liked it. It wasn't until, now speaking of liking it, I liked it even though I was taking 8 medications a day for, being morbidly obese. I mean, my highest weight, I was 389 pounds. It wasn't until I had my daughter in 2016. She's the reason that I did it. She was 3 years old. It was like yesterday. We had gone to like a little parking lot festival kind of thing. And they had like some little kiddie roller coasters and stuff. And of course she wanted to ride. This was also at a time that her dad and I had just separated. So it was just me and her. And, she wanted to get on. Of course, I got to get on with her. And the lap belt would not go down on the roller coaster. My baby cried so bad. I had never heard her cry like that. And I decided right in that moment that my baby would not cry like that again because of something that I did that I can prevent or I can do something about. So I called my doctor the next day. And I said, I need you to give me a referral to a bariatric surgeon. Because by then I had already tried, like some little fad diets and taking some pills and working out and losing a couple pounds, fasting, and then gaining it all back, And they did. They hooked me up with, they sent me a referral to Dr. Fritz Jean Pierre, who saved my life. That's who performed my surgery, WellStar at Kennesaw. And they hooked me up with him. He put me in this 1-year program. He didn't just do surgery on me right away. I had to lose 50 pounds before he would even do surgery on me, but it was the knowledge that he gave me that's far greater value than any surgery I could have ever gotten. But she was the reason. It was solely her. Had I not had my daughter, I probably still would have been almost 400 pounds to this day because I loved the attention that I got, because I've always had a pretty face. Yeah. So I was like, it was you're pretty for a big girl kind of thing.
I get it. I definitely get like that.
But I just craved the attention. It was just out of control. It was out of control.
But, I think a lot of people do crave, that attention when it comes to anything really where your body is kind of celebrated, in a sense, no matter what it's for, no matter if it's something that is, good for your health or bad for your health. People, you kind of, when you're kind of torn up on the inside, you seek those things. And I have been that person as well with low self-esteem. I went through a really low point of low self-esteem during like my teenage years and like my very early 20s. I had very low self-esteem, and it was mainly because like with me, so I've always been tall. I'm like 5'9", pretty much 5'8.5", and I've always had a little more weight than others. It wasn't really, just overweight or anything, but I always had a little more weight. And in the environment that I was in, as far as like where I grew up, like who I was living with at the time, my weight was always like pointed out as being negative. So I did not embrace the whole thing of having curves and all that kind of stuff until my late 20s. I didn't like it. And now when I look back, I be like, man, I wish I had that body now, because that body was banging, okay? That body was so banging, like flat stomach, hips, a butt and everything. And I was like, ooh, I was so fine, and I didn't even know it. But I was, I really just kind of got complacent after that. Like I started really just kind of feeling myself. Now, I will say, probably around like 25, 26, I did lose like some weight on my own. I was going to the gym and everything regularly, eating right and stuff. And then I started to get promotions at work. And I had to do like rigorous training and work all kind of crazy hours and stuff. So I really fell off with exercising and, you know, eating right. I was just eating whatever I could. So that's pretty much kind of how I gained all the weight that I gained. I became really lazy. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's my fault, but I really, I got so wrapped up in work and trying to excel at work that I just let my health go. So I was just
That
like,
happens a lot. We do that a lot too.
yeah. And I was just like, ooh, this ain't it. This ain't it. But so I decided to have the surgery. And now I didn't have like a requirement for like how much weight to lose before with the type of insurance I had. I went to Emory to have my surgery done, Emory Midtown. But I had to show that I was losing weight every visit. I had to do a year program as well. Every visit I had to meet on lost some weight. And that helped a lot. And then doing the diet before you have the surgery. So I had to do a 2-week liquid diet.
No, I don't.
Ooh, girl, I be like, I be thinking about it now, and I be like, ooh, I need to do one. Maybe, you know, I could drop 15 pounds real quick. But
Yes, ma'am.
that was torture. That was torture, okay?
You know what? I had to do mine right around Thanksgiving, and everybody was eating all that. Oh my
I
gosh,
feel like they
was
kind of do it on purpose around holidays
purpose.
because mine was around the 4th of July. And I remember distinctly being at a family cookout, and I love hot dogs, grilled hot dogs, and I could not have one. And I wanted one so bad. And I was just like, I can't have it. And everybody kept asking, but I didn't want to tell like my other family members at the time, like, oh, I can't have that because, you know, I'm having this surgery done or whatever. Because sometimes, you know, people, you just never know what people might say. And I was already mentally dealing with being hungry. I ain't want to deal with nothing else they had to say at that time. Yeah. But I feel like it was really beneficial. I learned a lot with, you know, nutrition and everything too. And I did have some regain though. I regained like 45 pounds. And so far of that amount, I've re-lost. It's funny kind of saying it. I can laugh about it. Before I was a little mad at myself. But I have lost 20 of that. So I got like 25 more pounds to get back to where, you know, I got down to my lowest. But I want to get beyond that. So I'm going to work. That's what I've been working on since like April of this year.
I've had a little regain, about 11 pounds or so. I was told that that's normal, but still for me, like mentally, I just don't like it because when you think about like in the grand scheme of things, I'm a person that went and laid on the table and literally risked my life. To have this surgery so that I could have life. So I don't want to have so much regain. So that 11 pounds, even though it sounds very minuscule, it bothers me. Yeah. So, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, a lot of people don't understand, you know, the surgery is the easy part of it. It's everything that you've got to do afterwards, the mental part of it, and, you know, to changing the behaviors and to just really tap into the things that cause you to overeat if that's what your issue was, or, you know, you really, really have to do the inner work. And so it's not easy. It's not easy. And I tell people all the time, I am not an advocate for weight loss surgery. I will never be an advocate for weight loss surgery. I am, however, an advocate of doing what's best for you. Yes, and if that means weight loss surgery, then that's just what it is. For me, that's what it was. But I will never be like, go get whatever. Right, you know, I'm just not that person. So,
because every individual is different, but I definitely agree with that. And I will say as well, like as far as what contributed to my regain was of course work, and also so like I was seeing this guy, and I found out that following spring after I had surgery that he had got married, and like he got married. He was married for like a whole year and didn't tell me. And that just really kind of set me on a spiral. And
Wow.
I started to really question myself. I started to question, like, girl, do you really love yourself? Like, like, how did you not see the signs? You know, stuff like that. And
Right.
it made me just really like overthink, and that made me even more reclusive. Is staying in the
Yeah.
house. I didn't want to go nowhere. I didn't want to do anything. So I probably after a couple months, I was just like, okay, you got to snap out of this, okay?
Yeah.
Like, cause this is not the way to live. You know, what people do is a reflection of them. It's not a reflection of me. All I did was be my genuine self. I was honest. That's all I could do. I can't control what nobody else do. So I
That's right.
started seeing a therapist, which I
Yes.
had seen one before, but I felt like I was okay and I ain't needed no more. So I didn't really go past like a couple visits, but I actually did like a year long, like intense kind of thing with a therapist. And that has helped me so much with
Yes.
valuing myself, putting my value, you know, on myself, and looking at it in a different light, and not letting what other people do really get me like that. But that was something that I also kind of talked about in another episode. It's like a trauma response of me from my childhood, basically.
Yes.
So I grew up, I was raised by my grandmother. My parents, like I would see them, but they were, you know, they didn't raise me. And that all of that stuff came from abandonment issues, being told, hey, I'm coming to see you, but you don't show up, stuff like that. So I was holding on to a lot of stuff that I didn't know that I was really holding on to. And
Yeah.
because I was afraid to really talk about it, because I started to develop a relationship with my parents as I got older. So I didn't want to make them feel bad, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
In a
Yes.
sense. But I was just like, my therapist, she was just like, your truth is your truth. If they
Yeah.
feel bad, that's on them. So I was like, you know what, you're right. So I had to start really just kind of walking into that. But so I don't want to do all the talking because I can
No, I was
go.
gonna say the same thing with me. So I had to, there's lots of different kind of therapies that you can get. I started in the cognitive behavioral therapy, and I'm actually still in it. And what that did for me was really, really help me to, one, identify what my triggers were. Because like you, I had a lot of abandonment issues. My sister and I both were raised in foster care system of South Carolina. So we had a lot of those abandonment issues, which for me, because I had hers manifested in a different way, but for me, the abandonment issues that I have manifested themselves in a way that I began to have unhealthy attachments to people.
Me too.
And because I developed these unhealthy attachment habits, I didn't have healthy boundaries. I didn't make people respect my boundaries, and I wasn't respecting my own boundaries. In fact, I didn't have any boundaries at all. It was just
Yeah.
I had a free for all. It was just everybody was just in my life running amok, including myself.
Yeah.
And so when I began to go to the cognitive behavioral therapy, it really helped me to identify the triggers and set healthy boundaries. And when I began to set healthy boundaries with people, and I tell you, people was falling out of my life left and right.
Girl.
Left and right. I mean, I looked around at one point, I was the only one here.
Yes.
But that's what it did for me. And I was okay with that because I knew that that's what I needed in order to begin to get my life back on track the way that I needed it to be. So that I didn't fall back into these old patterns and then gain these. I have lost 218 pounds. So regain
That's
all
amazing.
back. And girl, let me tell you something. I laugh about it now, but I was a heavy Chevy. That's what I called myself. I'm 28
Look, I understand.
I wasn't playing around. And so, I say a lot that I'm not an advocate for weight loss surgery, but I am an advocate for people going to therapy, especially Black people, because for us, it's so taboo, and I don't understand why. Today, I don't understand why. Back then, I got it. It's
Right.
like, we're going to go to the church and we're going to let the Lord handle it. That's the kind of stuff that we did. And, I'm a believer now. But I also believe that God put these professionals here to help us.
Yes,
And
definitely.
So I go lay them burdens down on that couch, okay? I go right to my therapist once a week. I don't play around. and it's necessary. You know, I have to continue doing that. They even taught me in this CBT class how to redevelop a healthy relationship with food, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize at my big old age of almost 40 years old that I didn't know how to have a relationship with food that's
Right.
supposed to fuel my body to help me keep living. I was living to eat. I mean, every way I turned, it was like everything I was doing. Oh, I want to eat to celebrate. I'm happy. I want to eat. I'm sad. I want to go eat. I'm upset. I want to go eat. You know, it was
Mm-hmm.
just like that. I was using this food to comfort me.
And that
And
was
so,
something, that's something that's kind of taught, like generalized, as far as
yeah,
like, oh, you got a promotion at work, let's go out and have
let's go
dinner,
to a restaurant.
or
Yeah,
let's go do this, let's have cake, let's do this, and it's, I know there are some people that, they be thinking like, well, you should know not to eat as much as you eat. You know what I'm saying? But it's not that easy for everybody. And
right,
sometimes you don't even realize how much you're actually eating. So
right.
now, like, when I look at like what I eat now compared to what I used to eat, I'm like, girl, you were tripping. Like,
Tripping, yes.
why? Why were you doing that? And I mean, I
Mhm.
know why, but I was just like, oh, wow, you were really tripping. And then I
Yeah.
see, and I try not to judge other people,
Mhm.
but sometimes it's kind of, I'm like, you really don't need all that.
Right.
Like, that's a bit much, to have, like, just an example, a 10-piece wing and all
Right.
kind of stuff or whatever, and I'm just like,
You ain't that hungry
you don't need all that, like.
now.
And I will say this
Yeah.
too, it is kind of difficult sometimes when I come in contact with certain people that don't know me personally and don't know that
Mhm.
I've had the sleeve surgery done, and I may go out for like somebody's birthday to brunch or dinner or something, and my plate is still looking like it's full.
Right.
And people just like, oh, you didn't like the food, or why you not eating? And I'm just like, I did eat, I just can't eat no more.
Right. Right.
Like, this is it. Like, even after 3 years, I still have restriction.
Oh my gosh.
um
Yes. Very much
yeah,
so.
I try to push it sometimes, I be like,
Just
it's
it makes
still
you
there.
feel sick. And you know, I wanted to also say too, I want to touch on one more thing about this cognitive behavioral therapy that I'm doing. You know, I have so many like little notes around my house that I put up for myself. It was just one of those things that I have to do for me to just keep me in the right headspace. Because I'm telling you, if I, even now to this day, if I get upset about something, I'll flee straight to the refrigerator. Like, it's just a comfort thing for me. And so I shared this on Facebook once where I had to put a note on my refrigerator to say, you know, don't open this door because the answer to whatever you're going through is not in here,
That's
you
good,
know.
that's
And
good.
so and even things in my bathroom, and just, you know, I have notes up for my daughter because I also am now trying to teach her about a healthy relationship with food at 7 years old. She works out with me, and you
And I
know, I
love
let
seeing
her
y'all
read the,
videos.
yes, girl, because I realized that a lot of the unhealthy habits that I had came from childhood. I was
Yes.
made to sit at a table and you better clear your plate. You better not get
Yes.
up until your plate is clear.
That's
I don't
very
do
true.
that with my daughter. I tell her, you eat until your body tells you that you're no longer hungry, not until you're full. You eat until your body says you're not hungry anymore. Because
Right.
there's a difference between being full and no longer being
That
hungry.
is very true.
And so I was like, I never asked her, are you full? Because that is to me overeating. So, you know, I'm just trying to teach her the healthy habits as she's a kid so that she doesn't grow up and become a person that has to have a weight loss surgery like her mother.
Yeah.
And if she decides to make the decisions as an adult to, you know, overeat or whatever, then that's what she does as an adult. But I know that I equipped her with the right tools as a child. And so, you know, it's important for me to make sure that I'm in the best headspace I can be so that I can help her, you
Right.
know.
I agree. And I
So
love
she gonna work
that.
out with her mama. We cook
Yes, yeah,
together.
she be
You know?
getting it. She be getting it. And just to kind of close out, so, and we kind of touch on this just for a few minutes because I know we got to wrap up here, but I will say this too, like I had to relearn some self-esteem issues even after the
Mhm.
surgery, because I was getting attention from men that I know I normally wouldn't get attention from. And it just like, you talking to me? You know, like, and I didn't know how to really take that. So I had to, I didn't want to become that person that was attention seeking and just like, oh yeah, this person, you know, they want to talk to me now or they like me, you know, I couldn't pull this type of person before or whatever. And I didn't want to really become that because I know people that have become that. So I had to take a step back and be like, you know, like what Mike Jones said, you know, back then, huh? Yeah. So I was like, we're not doing this, you know. So I just I had to learn to re-love myself for who I was, and accept that I'm forever changing. No matter if it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm forever changing, and I have to be okay with that person at the moment that I am, and not connect it to nobody else or let them, you know, determine my worth, my value, because only I can do that.
Yes, that's very true. And then I want to tell people too, like, you know, if people are watching this, that, you know, every day is not going to be perfect, especially on a weight loss journey or any kind of healing journey or whatever. I have had to constantly remind myself that if you mess up today, it's okay. Tomorrow, try again. And, you know, I used to find myself like, oh my gosh, I might have eaten the wrong thing today. What am I going to do? My motto for myself, I shared this on Facebook today too, don't panic, just pivot.
I like that.
Don't allow yourself to overthink about what you might have messed up with today. Just pivot. Try again tomorrow a different way. You know, give yourself some grace because it's not easy. It is a continuous thing every single day. There is no ending. Right. You know, there's no ending. It's a continuous thing. So give yourself some grace and just keep going.
And I tell people that a lot too. Always give yourself grace no matter what. Because this is our first time living this life. This is your first time overcoming certain obstacles, and you're overcoming them. So give yourself some grace. And another thing, just to kind of close out, is a lot of people, when they have the sleeve surgery, they compare themselves to their journey to somebody else's journey.
Right.
Like they be like, well, I didn't lose as much weight as so and so, or I didn't do this, or they look this type of way. You cannot have this surgery done based off of how somebody else look, or what they promote of how they feel. You have to do it because you want to do it, and you have to accept how you're going to look. You have to accept that you, like me, I lost a lot of chest. So now with certain things, I'm just like, ooh, I ain't got no boobs no more. Like, to fill this up, you have to accept that your skin is gonna look a certain type of way.
Exactly.
It's look like that. It's not gonna always be so toned like other people. But definitely, just make sure if you're gonna do it for you, for your own purpose, for your own health. And that's pretty much all I got. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode, Marquita.
Your family, tell them to your family and your friends and your followers. You know, I created my online community for health and wellness. Follow me on Facebook,
definitely,
TikTok, Instagram, called Weight No More. Is where I give lots of healthy tips and workouts and stuff like that. So
we're gonna make sure we drop the link. But thank you all for joining us, and make sure you follow me, Have Tea with B. We're gonna drop Marquita links as well, so you can follow her also. But that is it. Until next time.
Yes, ma'am.